Hey there, everybody. Joe from Joe's Computer Museum. Thank you for joining me this evening on this completely unscripted, random, whatever live stream. It is Saturday night, and Saturday night's all right for live streaming, so we're going to do it. So we're going to pick up where we left off with the last live stream, which was getting Javier Rivera's Color Classic up and running, first off, because it didn't turn on. That's a thing. And last time we found some bad capacitors and some crusty nastiness and things that we had to fix. So we need to get all that done. After that, then we're going to see if we have time tonight. We're going to see if we can upgrade his Classic Mac, or his Color Classic, to the Mystic upgrade. We have a Mystic board here that we need to get recapped or finalize the recapping of, because I ran out of parts to do that. Figures, me being unprepared for things. And then do a couple mods to it, which I don't remember exactly how to do those mods. I'll have to do some quick research and figure out what mod we need to do, and then we'll slap the whole thing together and see what the heck happens, right? So let's get into it. To start off with, I apologize if there is any weird, funky noise in the background. I am currently doing laundry, and the furnace is running nonstop because it is negative 1 million degrees outside. So that's a thing. And my museum, if you can probably see right over yonder shoulder right here, this is my air handler furnace unit. So it's right here in the shop, and it's going to make noise, but whatever. So let's say hello to some of the folks we got in the chat here. We've got, let's see, we've got MacFX. MacFX is here. So everybody say hi to MacFX. He's a cool guy. John Mounts, football, and JCM1. Well, I understand one of those, but the other one, what is the sports ball you speak of? Acid Rain, Jeff Barnard, Thrasher is here. Mike Rojas, hello. Kat Snutsky, whose name I can never pronounce. I apologize, Kat. Kat is here. She is awesome, too. Fellow K-Fester. Hey, Kat, I'm wearing the K-Fest shirt tonight. Apple II forever. Pierre is here. Yes, so let's do the thing. So, let us... Joe Williams is here, too. Yes. So let's go ahead and get... Javier's board finished first. The logic board for his LC575. There were 2 caps we had to finish. On the last stream, we plugged it into a chassis and it came up and ran, and everything seemed to be perfectly fine without those caps in there, which is actually pretty typical of a lot of these old Macs. But we're going to go ahead and put those Macs on there because we need to complete it anyway. And then from there, we can do the analog board of this Color Classic, which we know had bad stuff on it. So let us switch things. Acid Rain, is that a Kenmore washing machine? It is. Can you hear it? Is it obvious from the sound? Let's go to Scope Cam. Here we are. Let me arrange some things. I don't quite have all my tools arranged yet. I need this tool and that tool. Okay, we're going to get things aligned to doodled so we can do this part. Let's see here. There we are. So those are the 2 caps that needed to be redone. Stand by. Just arranging things. There, you can see those nice now. Focus. Ding. Super focus. Dryer's done. Yeah, those old yeah. So it's funny. Moved into this new house about a decade ago, and when I left the old house, we had a Kenmore washer and dryer that my parents had. That when they moved out and I took over, when I bought that house from them, they left that washer and dryer there. That washer and dryer was as old as me. So we moved into this new house, and we left the old one there, and the new house had literally the exact same washer and dryer in it. Yeah, they're basically indestructible. Although the timer did fail on the dryer, I had to replace that. So let's go ahead and get some flux here. These capacitors right here are 100 microfarad, 6.3 volts. Let's see here. Those need to orient this way. Yep. This one. Probably going to change the orientation of this board. It's going to make it a little easier for me to do this. There we go. There we go. We've got the flux on the board and the capacitor on the board, and it's not quite straight, and that's bothering me. There we go. And iron. Tweezers to hold it so it doesn't move. Melt that solder. Doesn't really want to work with me today. There we go. That's good. Do the other side. And one more. And off camera, I have another one of these boards that was in worse shape. I may have mentioned that at the beginning of the stream last time. I had two of these boards, and we're fixing the nicer one for Javier. The other board was in not quite so nice shape, and I might pop that on the screen so you can see some of the repairs I had to do to that board. But yeah, I had to do some actual trace repairs, pad replacement, and stuff on that. Not enough solder on the iron. There we go. And two. There we are. Nice clean blobs of solder. Now, I am going to test these capacitors to ensure that they are not shorting across each other, because oh, shut up. The last board I did, they did short across each other underneath one of the capacitors. Yep, they're fine. If you flow a little too much solder on there, you can actually get a solder bridge underneath the capacitor on these surface mounts, so you got to be careful with that. Folks are talking in the chat. I will catch up with you in a second. Stand by. What's everybody saying? Nice tantalums. Thank you. Garth Beagle. Hi, Garth. Hi, Rudy. Rudy and Javier and Ron of Ron's Computer Videos and I have a little side project we're working on. And once we have some of the details finalized, we're going to tell the world about that. And that's going to be cool. So I want to clean up the gunk on this board real quick while I'm here. Isopropyl alcohol and a cotton swab will do that job. Just clean up the extra flux. Now this is technically no clean flux. You don't actually have to clean it. It will just slowly solidify into a chunk. But in the meantime, it is a gooey mess, and it gets stuck to everything, and it just makes life kind of a pain in the butt. So in the meantime, we clean it so we don't have to deal with that. Couple runs with isopropyl alcohol. Just to get all that off there. There we are. Nice and clean. Now, in theory, we can go around and clean the rest of these as well. Because I'm a perfectionist. Or something. I'm something, all right. And again, this is just literally plain 99% electronics grade isopropyl alcohol. You can use the counter stuff if you want, as long as you use 91% or higher. The lower percentages may have additives in them that just make things gooey and yucky on your board. Okay. So you can see this, since I did this board last week, stuff is already starting to dry. It's all kind of turns into a kind of gooey mess. That's okay, we deal with it. Can you tell me what the yellow ceramic filter caps do on old PCBs? Fixing an old 1942 arcade board didn't fix my problems. The disc-shaped ones near each IC, there are tons of them. Yes, those are typically what are called bypass and or filter or decoupling capacitors. What they usually go between the voltage rail and the ground rail of each chip, as close to the chip as possible, so that when the chip does any switching actions, when it draws a tiny little bit of current, the capacitor helps repower that rail, so that if a lot of things are making a lot of switching actions simultaneously, it won't draw the power rail down too low and cause literal glitches where a circuit thinks it's a digital circuit has thought that it has made a switching action, or its inputs go low or high or something when it's not expecting. It smooths out the power, basically. It prevents problems. Cleaning boards 101 with Joe. One of the most boring things you can ever do is clean a board. Watch. There's goo everywhere. Just how it is. It's how it be. Another reason why you should use isopropyl alcohol is because it dries really fast. It just kind of dries and gets out of the way. I'm also showing this to show kind of the care that I give to my clients' projects. You know, I don't just like do the work and send it out. I make sure that things get cleaned up, and I do my best to ensure that it looks better than when I started with it. Very important. People trust me to do their boards in a nice, clean, professional manner, and I do my best to make sure that that happens. Okay. This chip right here, those traces look a little punky. I'm going to zoom in on these traces. Stand by. Yep, those traces look a little icky. Can you see it? Where is my scrape tool? Here's my scrape tool. It is a literal surgical scalpel. Yeah. Even though it looks yucky, traces actually seem all right. Try this. Yeah. Yeah, even though they look yucky, they're actually okay. So I'm checking these traces here because they looked a little, like I said, punky. That's a term to describe bad wood, but yeah. It was mostly just a surface layer of oxide, it looked like, and just the what do you want to call that stuff? The solder mask that was bad. But you always want to double check. And this area was around the battery, so it stands to reason. That's the problem. Where did it go? I lost it. Hello? So it goes there. I need to go straight down and over. There we are. Sorry about the shaky cam there, folks. That trace under there looks a little suspect. It's okay. It's okay. We'll get something else to poke at that. It's a little more control. Yeah, it's all right. Just a top layer problem. That via looks okay. Yeah, it's a little. Yeah, it's a little. It's scungy, but it's all right. If you're wondering what the scale of things are, that right there is the tip of a pair of tweezers. Gives you an idea of the scale of the stuff that I'm working on here. Tiny, tiny, tiny stuff. That's why when you do this kind of work, although it is not absolutely required, it is very, very helpful to have a microscope like I have. Yep, we got a couple bunk traces here too that were around this capacitor. That stands to reason as well. Or vias. That one's okay. There's still copper there. It's fine. Yeah, it's all right. They're all right. There's still copper there. Okay. People are talking. Mac Effects may have to pay me to fix his Mac TV. Okay. Get with me after the fact here. Love that scope. Yes, this is an AM scope with a 4x to 70x zoom lens on it. It also has a half demagnifying Barlow lens on it, which allows me to have, or extra half magnification, I should say, which allows me to have the scope higher up off the bench so I can fit more stuff, like my tools and stuff, under the bench. It is also a trifocal, which allows me to have the camera on it so you guys can see what I'm doing. So now I'm just kind of cleaning up some of the crud in this area. Zoom back out just a little bit. Focus. Yeah, just for scale of the size of this stuff. That's the head of a Q-tip, or head of a pin. Yeah. Just making sure that all looks good and nice and shiny, and it does. Just doing more trace checks. And those traces have some That just looks like dried flux from manufacturing around it. That's fine. That all looks good. Check these traces around here again, because this is where we replaced some capacitors. Those all look generally good. I saw somebody asked a question about lacquer. Do you have lacquer you can apply over the bare traces? Finding green is not that hard to do anymore. Actually, yeah, right there. This is UV solder mask. I don't have the exact part number documented. John says 0.5 bar low increases the field of view. Yes. So this is your solder mask replacement. You paint it on with a small, just a tiny little brush to get it right where you want it, and then you hit it with ultraviolet light. I'm not going to be doing that on stream because I want to give this a nice ultrasonic clean before actually finalizing the trace cleanup, which is typically how I do it. I will clean up the traces after I've done a final cleaning, so that the ultrasonic, or so that the man, I can't, me no word, no brain, big brain 'em. So the solder mask will actually stick to the board. That's what I meant to say. I promise I know how to talk, folks. I really do. Just cleaning up the goop. Well, we got some solder balls. I'm going to zoom way down in on that so you can see that. See that? I'll kind of get those off of there. We don't want them to come loose, cause us a problem later. Okay. It's the same that Bruce uses. Hey, Javier, we're getting your board fixed. Nail polish, yeah, you can use nail polish. Turkey, yes. Yes, the much turkey was had. I'm just switching to a toothbrush now to do this because it's faster. This way. That'll work with me a little bit better, yes. Now, you may be asking yourself, Joe, why do you go to all the trouble of cleaning this off with a toothbrush and cotton swabs when all you're going to do is ultrasonic clean it? And the answer is because the ultrasonic cleaner doesn't always get into these tiny little edges around the sides of the capacitors and stuff. And it can leave kind of like a white crust. And so I like to just be thorough. And as stated before, I like to have quality of my work be high. That's just me. If you're gonna do it right. Besides, if I do better work, I can charge more. Although I'm not doing this primarily to make a profit or anything crazy like that. I do want to make sure that I make value for the work that I perform, just like any artisan might. But this is not my day job, so just kind of a little hobby thing that I do on the side to help continue funding the hobby that I do on the side, basically. Okay. And we still got a little goop around there. Okay. Yep. Okay, the board is mostly clean. So now you guys get to listen to a lot of loud noise. If it's stupid and it works, it ain't stupid, yes. Will there be a test by fire? Well, yes, I will be testing it momentarily, but this board is not going to be what I'm worried about catching fire. It's going to be the analog board we're going to be doing here in a second. So yeah, we'll go with this camera. So the next thing, you're going to hear a really loud noise. And that noise is my air compressor to clean the board. Or to dry out the board. Air compressor. It's right down there. Apologies if anybody's wearing headphones. Sorry about that. You may only barely be able to hear this air compressor. I specifically got one by, I think it's California Air Tools. They specialize in high power, low decibel, low sound air compressors. I mean, I can literally, sitting down here running right now, I don't have to have ear protection on. The max it gets it is like 60 decibels. So, yes, Justin, sorry to hear about that fire in your neighborhood. I'm going to actively avoid catching anything on fire tonight. Let's put these capacitors back. We don't need those. Okay. Switch cameras. Quieter than my MDD for sure. Yeah. I want bench cam. Yes. Okay. That'll turn off in a moment here once it gets to pressure. And it's off. So let's just rearrange things a little bit here. I just had this because we're going to be working on it next. I just had it handy and ready. Apologies for my attire. As noted earlier, it is laundry day. So I need to test this board, the board first, in the LC550. Stand by. Big heavy chonker. Honkin' chonker. Okay. Make sure the board is actually dry. Don't smell any alcohol. Looks good to me. Okay. I need to put the RAM in it. That's a thing that needs to happen. You guys can't see a gosh darn thing that's happening. There, you can kind of see what I'm doing now. That better? Let's see. This goes in here. I don't think we need that in there, but we'll put it in. This is the video RAM. I do have a video RAM upgrade for this board coming in, but that's coming from the United Kingdom, so that might take a little while to get here. I got those nice, colorful video RAM upgrades from Silicon Insider. So we're going to pop this back in to here. You can do it. Cool. Now we're going to adjust the camera angle slightly so you guys can see what go on. There we are. I need power. Power. You can do it. You can, there you go. And turn on the power switch. Back the back. It's going to make a noise. Okay. We hit the power switch. Do we get a bong? Ding! Sweet. So his board is working. That's good. We'll let it come all the way up and then shut it back down properly. Rainbow RAM. Yeah, it looks cool, but yeah, it is. Yeah. That bonged better than my Mac TV. Well, that's good. Does your Mac TV does it make crash noise or something? Like failure bong or something? Now, again, this came from my wonderful friend, Adam McG, who may or may not be in the chat right now. Sizzling sounds? Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh. Nice. That sounds nice. Your clock is not that crazy. I don't care. Yeah, so. Let that finish. We're going to shut it down here. I do need to turn this slightly so I can see what I'm doing. My bench is kind of small here because my space is small. If you guys don't know, my space is about 16 feet by 16 feet. Yes. Yes, it really is that small. So we're going to go ahead and get this undone and out of the way. So now we know we've got a working board for Javier. So now we need to get the analog board done. So let's put his logic board over here for now. And let's get the 550 out of the way. Over here on the floor. Whereas currently the only place I have to put the thing, because I'm out of space. Move that over. Do a little camera rearrangement. Stand by. Apologies for the shaky cam. Cool. Now we're going to recap the analog board, which is going to be mostly boring for you guys because I can't really get close up on it. Just arranging the camera so I have a little more room to work. Stand by. There we are. Yeah, looking to. Hey, Ron, how you doing? Ron is going to be streaming later tonight at 10 p.m. He's going to be playing some video games, I believe. So after I'm done here, which I will try to be done before his stream starts, you can go hang out with Ron. Looking at people's comments, potting soil is flammable. That's nice. Looking at the plastic might crack it. Yes. Sorry about not having enough space, Zodium. I understand that. In the house I was in before is a 12-foot by 12-foot room on the second floor, and I had so much hardware in that room. This is before my YouTube channel. I had so much hardware in that room, it was actually causing structural problems with the house, and I had to get rid of a lot of hardware. Those were sad days. Then I moved here, and this is a concrete floor, so I don't have that problem. The Trinitrons rock. Yes, they do. Yes. So let's get to getting. So this is the analog board or power board for this. And we did start working on that a little bit on the last stream. But I realized that I didn't have parts. Even though I had done several of these boards before, apparently I ran out of the parts that I needed to do it. So I've created myself a little box. Color Classic Analog Board Recap Kit. Yes. With all the parts in it, with enough to do 10 of these things. And so as I run out, I can just repopulate the board. I have my actual order lists there, so I know what to reorder when it runs out. And of course, I have the wonderful layout right there by Bruce Rain of Brankus Creations from his recapamac.com.au, whatever website that is. And he has done all the hard work and all the actual effort and brain power to figure out what needs to be recapped on these so that we don't have to. So all we have to do is follow his instructions. In particular, I am doing the capacitors in the black squares because those are the ones that really need to be done. So we're going to go ahead and finish that up. In addition, there was one other resistor right in here that was is a 4.7 ohm resistor that fell apart when we looked at it sideways on last stream, so we need to get that replaced as well. Thomas Armstrong, did I get the resistors? Yes! Justin Morgan, yes, I order from Mouser. Based on where I live in the United States, and the fact that, I don't know, I reach some sort of magical tier with them, 95% of the time my shipping is only $8 for almost just about any quantity that I order. The price per part is lower, and the parts get here faster. DigiKey has this cool thing where they partner with Rochester Electronics, so you can get a lot of older out of print chips, so to speak, but they cost a lot more. So I tend to stick with Mouser. That is by no means an endorsement of any product or company. They just happen to work well for me. So we need to get these capacitors out of here. And would you imagine that? I had that preheated. I actually thought ahead for once. So we need to get these capacitors out of here. So we get to listen to the machine a lot. Okay. We're going to follow the instructions. So we need to get those two big ones out of there, which we did. We basically need to get all three of these out of here so we can get these done. Since I have the recapping guide, I can literally just pull them all out. Dave's Vintage Apple Tech. Hey, Dave. Oh, that one doesn't want to come out. You can do it. You can do it. Ooh, that one's definitely nasty. I can smell the cap juice on that one. Oh, I'm undoing the wrong lead. Stand by. Yeah, it helps to desolder the correct component. There's my trash bin, which means I need to resolder this component real quick. We can do that super quick. There we go. That component is soldered back on. Let's continue. We need to do these two right here. Is this hot enough? Yeah, I think it's all right. Get this one out. Man, these are stinky. Stinky! A real Hako, yes. This is the Hako FR301. It's their standard machine. I read a lot of reviews online, and I found that a lot of the non-Hako tools tended to just be kind of crappy. So I just decided to go with the real thing. I can see cap juice. I can see clearly now. The cap juice is gone. I need to get these three out of here. This one is this one right here. And this one. Oops. I'm going going to clean that nozzle. It feels a little weird to me. Yeah, that's all right. It's clear. And then this one, which is right here. Okay. What's next? Those three, and then these three right here. Okay. That one is right there, I think. Hard to tell exactly. Stand by. There's a lot of components really close together here. I want to make sure I get the desolder the right one. I'll probably start with this one, which is right there. That pair right there. This one's, the leads are folded over on this, so it's being a particular pain in the butt. There we go. I think I got it. Come to Papa. There we are. That one's gone. Well, that one looks brand. Nope, it's got crust. Never mind. I was gonna say that one looks brand new. It's not. That one's gonna be this one right here. Pads okay? Yep, they're fine. And then the final one is this one. It is right there. I believe it's this pair. Points. Nope, that was the entirely wrong part. That was this little capacitor right there. Got to put that back in. Removed the wrong part, so I'm putting it back in. Oh, stop getting caught on things. Stop it. Stop. Stop! In the name of the law! That's an old video game reference, if anybody happens to know what that one is. There we go, that's back in there. So where the heck is that? It's down to the right. It's got to be this one. Yep, that's the one. You can come out. There we go. Okay, so that's that cluster of three. I need to get that big boy out, which I already did. I need to get this big boy out, which it looks like it's been replaced, but I'm going to replace it again anyway, because I don't know. That's going to be that one right there. Yep. Again, bent over leads. I'm just straightening them with the tool here. Okay. We've got a lifted pad there. That happens sometimes. As long as we don't rip it off the board, it will be all right. Come out of there, you son of a gun. Jiminy Christmas. I want to show you these leads. Wait, people are saying things. Yeah, Newark is good. Is it fixed yet? No, retro. Oh, just stop. I desolder like you, all the wrong ones. Yes. Has anyone ever capped an Apple Color Monitor 100? I have not. Stop, or I will say stop again. Okay. Oh, yes. So you did get the reference. Okay, good. So, yeah, I wanted to show you this capacitor. And so you understand why you got to be careful sometimes. So let's go to Scope Cam and show you if I can. Yeah. So look at how, can you see it? Is it focused? Look at how bent those pins are. So when they went to install this cap, they bent the leads over so the cap wouldn't fall out, and that's fine. But they were bent over so far that they hooked into the board. So when I went to remove it, it actually hooked onto the pad and moved the pad around and delaminated the pad from the surface of the board. So that's a problem. You got to watch out for stuff like that. But I want that camera. Okay. So, oh, stop doing things that are against my will. Roll of solder. Roll up. I said roll up. Okay. So what's next? We got that one. So we got that one, and this cluster. Yep. So all the main capacitors are done and out of the way. So we are done with the machine. I'm not done with the machine. I forgot. We do have to replace this one resistor here. I'll show you again in case any of you didn't see my stream, the last stream here. Scope Cam. So where are we on Scope Cam? We are right there. Focus. So I don't know if that's blatantly obvious. So this big out of focus resistor right here is one that takes a lot of heat. There's always a lot of heat on this resistor, and it actually destroyed the resistor next to it. It's fallen apart. Now I measured the resistor, and technically it still works, but I would be remiss in my duties if I did not replace this thing. Look at that. It's just fallen apart. So we're going to go ahead and replace that resistor. Doobie doobie doo. Doobie doobie. So I do need this still. I need to find this resistor, which is which one? It's going to be just down from the double. It's going to be that one there. That one. Okay, I found it. Need to get that out. Resistor should be free. I should be able to pick it out of there. Let's find out. Sorry about that. That was my exhaust fan falling over and making noise. Okay. I know you guys can't really see what I'm doing, but that's okay. I mean, I can't really, this is not something that's easy to show. I need this tool right here. All you guys are seeing is the top of my head. Just does not want to release, does it? It's another one of those factors of it was peened over or bent over when they put the chip or the resistor in. So it's just sticking. I think I got it now. You can do it. There we go. Now I need to replace that. It's going to be a 4.7 ohm resistor, half watt. Open sesame. Got enough to do 10 of them in case I need those. Lice Ranch. Okay. Thanks, Javier. Now everybody knows. Okay. So this one is done. Get this resistor in place. 4.7 ohms. Oh, stop. Don't be stupid. Being stupid is not allowed on Joe's Computer Museum. Only Joe is allowed to be stupid. Computers have to comply. Wink. Do it. Do it. Okay. That resistor is in there. Okay. Now we need to get it soldered in place. I'm going to do a little bit of fancy rework with these pins. Now, I'm doing the same thing I said don't do before, but I'm using the pins as leads basically to ensure that because this trace here pulled up a little bit, so I'm using the pin as a lead to effectively replace that trace as a kind of a just-in-case scenario. Just in case. Sure, shorten nothing on the top side. It is not. Need my solder. Solder, S-O-D-D-E-R. We're going to create a little bridge over to this other part. There we go. Clip that off. And we do the same right here. Okay. Going to rerun this lead right over to this other pin. Again, just as a precaution to replace that trace effectively, or to bolster the trace, so to speak. Little creative bending and folding. Solder this wire in place. Cut off the excess. Bob's your uncle. Cool. So the 4.7 ohm has been replaced. Now I am going to look at the bottom of this board because some of these areas do look a little funky. That's all okay. That's fine. Look at the top of the board. There's no traces there really to speak of or to worry about, so we're not going to. Okay. Yep. Cool. Right. Now we're going to clean the area underneath these capacitors. Yeah, working with small solder points can be a pain in the butt. That's why we have Magic Scope right here. so that when we need to, we can see stuff. So I'm just cleaning up any goop that's on the board here, any residual cap juice, so it doesn't continue to eat away at things. Because basically, capacitor electrolyte is effectively an acid, and it will just eat stuff. And this is actually what causes a lot of problems. It's not that the capacitors themselves fail, which of course that is a problem, it will cause some problems, but it's also the fact that the acid will creep along surfaces and eat things, because that's what acids do. They like to convert things from their nice nifty normal metals and things into metal salts, and those metal salts don't work. They don't function the same as the original metals do. Okay. All done. Now we put in capacitors. Get my cap guide here because I will be needing that to know what I'm doing. Okay. These are the 5600s. Where are those? Resistors. This is 10 volt 5600. These are the ones I need. Need two of these guys. Okay. Now, important thing here, when you remove these from these strips, do not, I should say, with a manufactured component, a capacitor, something like that, you don't want to pull up on these because you'll put stress on these pins back here and cause potentially problems inside the capacitor. You want to make sure that you just cut them off entirely or peel back the tape and get rid of and take them out that way. Things that you should be able to pull on just fine, resistors usually are not a problem. But most components, you don't want to just try to yank it out of the tape. Another thing you could do is you could just cut them, just cut the leads off. However, as a little thing you might not know is that capacitors, electrolytic capacitors, are polarized like diodes are. And they will have, one of the pins is, I don't know if you can see that, one of the pins is longer than the other. The pin that's longer is the positive pin. If you cut them off, you kind of lose that little visual reference. Although the negative pin, the shorter one, does have the line here. But I like to have that reference on there because the board itself, if you can see right up in here, it has a little plus there to indicate the polarity of the capacitor as well. The positive side has the big fat area on it. So that's going to tell you which way those capacitors are supposed to go in there. Okay. So we put this in, and then fold a doodle it over very carefully. Kind of like that. When we do the other one, about the same. Being very careful, again, not to stress the body, the pins in the body of that. Very carefully. And populate the board. Now, I do fold my pins over slightly when putting in components so that they don't fall out, but I usually don't put a very crazy bend on them. Just enough just to hold them in place. You got to think of yourself or the person who's going to come in behind you that's going to be working on that board behind you. Let the juice flow. Yes. If you don't clean the flux, then you're not a professional. Take them off of side cutters. You can do that. What flux cleaner does everybody use? I use good old-fashioned isopropyl alcohol. It depends. If you're the liquid fluxes, the isopropyl works really well. The flux that's actually in the solder itself can actually crust up pretty badly. An IPA will take quite a long time to get it off of there. So I have what I call this right here. I call this Go Flux. It's 50% Windex, 50% isopropyl alcohol, and it does a little bit better at breaking up the flux that comes from inside the solder itself. Hey, Bruce, how you doing? I'm using your magic sauce there to recap this board for Javier. You're turning 21 soon. Congratulations, Lucas. Oh, flux cleaner for your ultrasonic cleaner. Now that's gonna vary a lot. Hello, Hylian. Eep. So let's get these capacitors put back in. Yeah, the fluid for your ultrasonic cleaner is, yeah. There are like 25 different schools of thought as to which one you should use. I can tell you in a moment which one that I use. I'll have to go get it and read it. One. Two. Three. And four. I don't like that. Needs a little bit more. There we go. 2 down, 12 to go. Yeah, Bruce's brand isn't here in the US. Stand by, I'll go grab mine. I'll tell you what I'm using. I'm using that Elmatech Clean A1. Slightly alkaline, does a pretty good job. Does a really good job at surface surface residues. It doesn't do too well of a job at the really thick flux globs, and that's either my ultrasonic cleaner itself or the fluid here. Not sure. It's very interesting. Little aside, I've mentioned this on a previous stream. This stuff smells exactly like the cleaner we used to use to disinfect things when I worked at Kentucky Fried Chicken when I was in high school. Very interesting. Okay, so back to the fixins. Cool. Thomas helping out people in the chat. That's awesome. Thank you, Thomas. So more caps. More caps. There's one thing you have to be aware of when you're working on a big fat analog board like this, and that is this big chonker right here, to a little bit less effect this guy right here. This thing is very heavy. This is the flyback transformer. As you're flipping this over back and forth, you are constantly putting back and forth stresses on this. So what I will usually do as the last thing before finishing this, I will go ahead and reflow all the joints on this again, because by that flipping back and forth, I may have broken these joints again. So just a thing to keep in mind. Get those down on there. What's next? We got a 16 volt DC 330. That is this big fat one here. Putting those to the side when I'm done. Okay. This one goes in this way. Like so. So just making sure that's 3,316 volts. 3,316 volts low profile. Yep. Like a glove. Now you notice that I'm not pre-populating the board, then soldering them all at once. That is my preferred way of doing it, only because I'm incredibly forgetful. And I like to basically do one thing at a time, check it off as done, and then move on to the next thing. I serialize my work. It is a trick that I learned a very long time ago in order to ensure that I actually get things done properly. It is I don't know what you want to call it. It is a ADHD coping mechanism that I have taught myself. We're done with that. Well, I'm just clean up my tools a little bit. I got a little bit of a mess going on here. Okay, so that one's done. Get the next bag out. We'll just do them one bag at a time. 16, 3300, high profile. Those are the ones that go up in here, right? We need 2 of those. Yes. Yes. Yo, Joe, Stars Manny, how you doing? Yes, if Flatbacks already have issues, please be very gentle with them. Oh my gosh, capacitors just went all over the counter. You missed that part. That's funny. I'm just moving it from one bag to another. Stand by. They put the bag of capacitors in another bag. So I'm moving them from the internal bag that has no label to the bag that has the label. Justin, that's how I end up paralyzing my work, because I parallelize your work. Yes, I get it. I get it. So we need 2 of these things, these big chonkin ones, 3,316 volts, and they go right here. Now, the lead spacing on these isn't quite correct, so I kind of have to fudge it a little bit, but we'll make it work. Because we have to. Because these are the ones that I could get. And then all you can see is my head. Sorry. I'll have to deal. Yeah, these caps don't quite fit in here. I went with the ones that I could actually get. They're a little bit too big, but we will make it work. As long as I got room for that other capacitor in there, which I don't. Stand by, I got to figure out things. This is why you really do need to measure things. I'll show you my failure. Stand by. Yes. So, here's the problem. The capacitors that were in that space were these. The ones I'm trying to put in there are those. That's a problem. They don't really fit. I will make them fit. Stand by. So the one that goes next to it is what? Is a 1016. Where are those? Not that one. 16 volt 1000. We will make it work. So this one goes in here, but I might be able to sidestep it a little bit. Like that. That. There we go. I got them all in there. I mean, they're not really happy about being there, but they're going to have to learn to live with it. Okay. They're in there, and that's all that matters. They're not going anywhere. They're not touching anything they shouldn't be touching. Yes. Make sure my polarity is correct. It is. And solder. Bend them like Beckham. Yes. Hey, Vintage Hillbilly Shack, how you doing? What's being worked on, and where can I get a spool holder for solder with smaller wires just like Joe has in his frame? Aha! What we're working on is I am recapping the analog board for a Macintosh Color Classic. And the spool holder, if you're talking about the spool holder that I have up on my wall, that I hold all my wires in, or the spool holder that is on the bench right now that is holding this. Which one are you talking about? I will give you a moment to reply while I'm soldering. Do. If there are any Mac yackers in the chat right now, you might recognize what I'm humming. The Mac Yak theme music, because it's in my head. Okay, those are in there. The one on the bench. Okay, so this is a solder spool holder by Delcast. I first saw this exact spool holder by Sean of Classic Arcade Repairs. Really cool channel. Go check him out if you're into just general electronics repair. It's a lot of similar foibles that you run into fixing computers, but also completely different. Really cool stuff. But he's using the same one, and I'm like, what are you using? And he's like, this one. I'm like, this is awesome. I also have up on my wall, I will change angles so you can see, a cool spool holder up there that actually holds my spools of wire. That spool holder is 3D printed. It's 3D printed and a couple wood dowels. So now you can't see anything. So those caps are in. Do a little cap juggling here, stand by. Because they send them in a plastic bag inside the plastic bag. I don't know why. I really do need to get my Amazon affiliate link thing working again. That's a really cool way. When I have that running, I can put links in the description of my videos to the stuff that I use. So if you like that stuff, you can click on those things to buy those things. And it doesn't cost you anything, but I make a little bit of a commission on it for sending you to purchase that. But I don't have that working. But the cool thing about that is I could create that list, and then you could see all the stuff that I use, and get stuff that you know works because you've seen a dude use it before. So I think, no, I'm not done with those yet. I am done with those. So we need a couple 470s at 25 volts. Right here. There are capacitors everywhere. 470 at 25. This one goes here. This 470 at 25 goes right here. Okay. I need 1000 at 10 volts to go right in between it, right here. Get these 3 done and out of the way, and then I can do another 3. Joe, just keep in mind that Amazon doesn't like it if you only have affiliate links in YouTube. You need to set up some on a website too. Yes, that's actually my plan, Bruce. I'm planning on just having a page on my website, and then I link to the page from the videos, basically. Stars, I see you have your spool colors arranged the same color order as the colors of the rainbow. I actually have them arranged in the same order as resistor colors. By the way, I've made some progress on PCIe floppy controller. I just haven't been able to get my mind around what chips to use, how to connect them in the schematic. Well, that's cool. So PCI floppy controller, so we can use floppy disks on modern computers, I take it? I'm humming the Mac Yak and Mac 84 theme again. I have my own theme. Wrote it myself. It's what you heard at the beginning of the stream. I don't know if you guys, any of you have seen that. Back in a billion years ago, I made a music video. Called All the Things. It was about the Apple II, and it has served as my theme song for my website, or for my YouTube channel. It's the beginning of every single one of my videos. I wrote that in GarageBand on a Mac. Wrote it, composed it, arranged it, sung it, produced it, whole thing. So those 3 are done. So let's do this cluster 3. It is a 100 at 100. Now let's go back here. This is a 1000 at 16. That's the 100 at 100. All right, 100 at 100. Yep. That one goes here. Just live that way. I believe we're done with that. And then I need 1000 at 35. Right there. 1000 at 35. And then you need a 1000 at 16. There are so many 1000 UF caps in here. Of course, you could basically use the higher voltages and the lower voltage spots, and you have a single cap you would use, as long as it's not too far off and the ESR rating is good. ESR, hey Bruce, in the chat, remember what ESR means? Video controller coming to DOI ultrasonic cleaner. Yep. Rudy's retro Intel. Up! Yes. Yes, Rudy knows about that. I may have mentioned this before. I'll mention it again. Making a little parody video of Van Halen's Jump called Up. I asked some of my wonderful, wonderful friends if they wouldn't mind screaming the word up for me so that I could use them as background vocals. And Rudy is one of those. Getting these soldered in place. That didn't like that. More solder, please. Solder, as we say in the States. Because we are not capable of speaking our adopted language correctly. Very interesting. United States, by virtue of having been a former British colony, has English as its de facto official language. We have no legal official language in the United States, if you didn't know that. However, the vast majority of people in the United States, their primary ancestry is German. This is evidenced in my case by the last name of Strohsnyder. And that is Joe's Wonderful World of Facts. Those are done. So I think I got them all. So we're going to go those two, that, these two, those three, that, aha, this one. We got 100 at 100 up here in this corner. Now I just got to find them again. 10 at 1,000, 16 at 1,000, 25, 35, 100 at 100. Here we go. English and bad English, yes. Ask Steve to do an Arnold up. Yes, that would be great. Oh! Is that in there well? Yeah, it's in there. It's all right. Yep, that's one of the where the pad lifted a little bit, so we'll have to be a little ginger with that. But I think we can make it work. I'm actually going to fold this over to connect to this other point, just in case. No, I'll leave it alone. I'll leave it alone in this case. It's a really fat trace. I don't want to mess that up. Or fat lead. Doobie-doobie-doo. So this parody I'm doing of Van Halen's Up or Jump, it's going to be called Up. And I'm just trying to figure out all of the parody legalities and how I want to actually release the song and do the video for it and all of that. And it's a tricky thing. In the United States, I have fair use under the Copyright Act to do that, but YouTube's system doesn't care, so they'll just flag it anyway. Even if I set it as if I set it as nonprofit or set it as non-monetized or whatever, depending on the specifics of the situation, YouTube may just decide to monetize it themselves and give the money to the record label, or they might give it directly to the Van Halen estate. Which, if any money from the proceeds of that video having been played on YouTube, if they go to Wolfgang Van Halen and the former Eddie Van Halen estate, I'm perfectly fine with that. By the way, Wolfgang Van Halen, son of Edward Van Halen, released his first album about 1 year ago. And just a couple days ago, he was nominated for a Grammy Award for Best Rock Song. Wolfgang Van Halen is a badass. The kid can play. Anyway, but back to what I was saying, that music, that copyright only really applies in the United States. Different laws have different countries have different copyright laws and stuff. So if I do release it, I'll probably have to region lock it to the United States and stuff like that. I have to double check as well. Even though I have parody rights, there's a weird corner of the law where you can't, you're allowed, it has to do with the way covers are done. You don't have to get a permission from the original artist to do a cover. You only have to pay the royalty fee and do paperwork, basically. But that's only if it's audio only. If you put it to a video, then you have to get direct approval from the artist, not the record label or anybody, from the artist. In this case, it would be the Van Halen estate, and that would probably be Wolfgang Van Halen. Or it might be Alex Van Halen. I'm not sure who's in control of the back catalog. It's probably Alex. But even in that case, I'm not sure that applies to parody. So I have a lot of research I got to do before I do that. That's been one of the big reasons why the video has been waiting for 6 years to be done, because I have to sit down and figure it out. And I am lazy and would rather play with old electronics. Capacitors are all replaced. Yes, they are. They indeedy doodle are. So I'm going to go through and check the polarity of all of these, because putting an electrolytic capacitors backwards is bad mojo. Yep, that's good. 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 In theory, this board is done. Cool. Put away my kit for the Color Classic analog board recap. Okay. Put this to the side. So now we're going to put it together, and we're going to plug it into a machine, and we're going to see if we blow the computer up. We probably won't. We might. This is where the fun begins. Okay, first things first, we got to get it back onto the backplane. This is always a little bit tricky. That. Okay, it's back on the backplane. I want to parody it. And see, here's the thing, Justin, is that you don't need the, if you do a parody, and the parody is sufficiently different from the original song, whereas say you change the instrumentation a little bit and the lyrics play off the original song but are different in theme, in the United States, you don't need their permission. You're just allowed to do it. It's called fair use. It's called satirical or parodic use of a copyrighted work. Weren't you going to reflow the big chunk? Yes, thank you, Javier. I will do that. So you can just do it, right? The trick with that is how you publish it. In my particular case, I have to be careful because I'm publishing it with a video. And in that case, I'm not sure how the parody law applies. I might still require permission from the original rights owner to do video over top of the music. So Javier pointed out a very good point that I was going to reflow the flyback transformer because we've been using it as a prop for this. Also, I am glad that I checked that because you see how I forgot to cut those leads off there? That would have been spicy. Yeah, this is what I get for talking while working. So we're going to reflow the flyback. Let the solder flow. The solder must flow. I'm sorry. Put the iron on. Let it melt the whole joint. Add a little bit more solder, not too much. Just helps clean up the eutectic mix. Let it sit for a second to really grab on, then take the iron off. Making sure, because I'm adding a lot of extra solder, I'm removing that solder from my iron every couple of points. Almost done. Got this one big fat hole down here that we're going to do as well, which actually seems quite low on solder. There's a whole big open gap on the one side of it. So it'll take a while to melt. This is a big fat joint. There we are. Refload. Uh-oh. Back through the spool. Do it. There we go. What are people saying? Big chunk, yes. Card like that. Some rights holders will still file copyright claims because they don't believe in parodies. This is true. Clone of the Microsoft Z80 card would be cool. Just the PCB. Yes. That would be cool. There are already clone Z80 cards. That is true. They're not clone Z80 cards. They're parodies. Fair use! That is hilarious. I love it. Okay. Double checking again, make sure I don't have anything loose under here. I don't. Looks good. Now we put it back on the backplane. This time with less things shorting out to the bottom of the backplane. Well, it does have a plastic cover here, but you know, you still want to be careful. You can do it. There we go. Narrow away. Yep. Cool. Check underneath. This goes under here. Like that. All right, now we start the assemblage. That analog board looks like it was made by Sony. All it says is Apple Computer Limited Singapore branch. I don't know who made it. Okay, here's Javier's board. That's just dirt. Looks like it. Yep, that looks fine. So, I'm going to hook everything up, but I'm going to leave, to reduce collateral damage, I'm going to leave the floppy drive and his Bruce knows what it is, SCSI 2 SD. I'm going to leave these disconnected for now. I'm not going to hook them up. I just want to see if the machine comes up. So this is the thing that we do. This goes here like this. I don't remember where this goes. Connects to, it's the audio board, I think. Slides right in. Like so. Like that. Yes, yeah. And I got to plug in 50,000 little connectors. I have to remember where they all go. This one goes here. And we've got it's the anode cap. And that. This goes over here. That goes there. Okay, I got it figured out now. This goes here. This goes here. Yeah, is it in all the way? I believe it is. That's the yoke control. Okay. This goes on here like this. Very carefully. This is a little ground wire that kind of goes over here. Anode cap, which is always a pain in the butt to get back on there. That's back on there. Okay. Finally, I think the last thing was the speaker, which lives right in here somewhere. Yep, that's where the speaker lives. Just going to kind of shove this in here like that. Doesn't have to be perfect right now. I'll make it perfect later. Speaker. Go in there, you. Speaker. Okay. So, double check it. Connected. 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 All the connected doodles are connected. Yes? Yes. Cool. Okay. As you can tell, I'm being a little squeamish. I don't like high voltage. I hate analog. Hate it. Analog, not my friend. Did this analog board work before this recap? No. According to Javier, it well, it kind of sort of did, but didn't you say it was like you were having video problems with it, or something like that? Sesame Street. Yes. Be okay to snip the zip and yeah. Yeah, that's just the way it is. I mean, it's not really tight on this right here. Just kind of there. That's the way it came. I mean, I can loosen it a little bit. It's easy enough to do. Just take it here and do that. And I went a little too far. Like that. It's the way it was. Just put it back the way it was. Where the video won't come on. It did and it stopped. Got it. Well, we'll see. So, I'm going to do a little safety protocol here. Stand by while I do that. I'm going to use a remote power switch to turn it on. So I'm nowhere near the thing when it turns on. So if it goes boom, I'm not nearby. I need power cord. Power cord. Okay, so power is off. I plug this into this. Power switch is off. Yep. Come here, you power cable. There. Now we're going to get the Color Classic board. And we're going to power it up with that. Because we haven't done any mods yet for it to work with the LC board. Okay. And it goes in there like that. And this goes here. Works for me. Okay. Now, we are going to stop falling over. Stop it. Just stop. Stop it. I swear to... The fan keeps falling over and it's bothering me, so it's going to be hung up over here until I'm done. Okay, so that's plugged in, that's plugged in. That's on, that's off. Okay. So we're going to route some stuff. Off, off. Okay. Power is plugged in. Now I'm going to turn this around facing away from me. So if it sparks and shoots and sparks and, it's not shooting it in my face because I am paranoid about such things. I do not like high voltage. I do not like analog. I can do it. I can do the work, but it always scares the absolute crap out of me if something goes wrong, because it usually goes wrong pretty spectacularly. Okay. So we're going to arrange that a little bit so you can see what's going on. Do that. This power switch is off. That one's on. All right, we're turning the power switch on. If the stream suddenly ends, it's because I lost power, because I tripped a breaker. It made the normal power on sound. That's good. We're going to wait and watch for smoke. Stand by. And I'm in this hobby. Why? Thanks, Kat. Okay. I don't see any smoke. Nothing's happening. That's good. I haven't hit the power button here yet, so just waiting. 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 I'm dabbed. Okay. So it seems to have not caught fire, so I'm going to do this. And it doesn't turn on. Nice. Wonderful. Stop. Great. Well, that's not helpful, is it? 63 out of 37. There's supposed to be an earth-shattering kaboom. So quite some analog board problems exploded right in his face. Yes. You turned on the switch on the back. Yes, I absolutely did. Switch on the back is in the up position. We're going to de-energize the device. Now that this has all been energized, we have to treat it quite gingerly. And I'm just going to take a quick look inside here and make sure that nothing looks like it burned up or did anything weird here. I mean, it didn't smoke, so it's also possible this Color Classic board has a problem too. There's a possibility. The soft power circuit on it could be busted, or who knows what. So I might put my plain Color Classic board in there, which I know works, just to make sure that the chassis functions. Yeah, I don't see anything funky going on. So we're going to take Javier's Color Classic board out. Now it's been recapped. This capacitor's kind of floating up above the board and stuff. So We've got the Micromac Technology Thunder Cache, which might be having some sort of effect on it. This thing also might require a battery to turn on. I don't think it does, but some of them do. It hasn't been fully recapped. We've still got a couple of non-tantalums there. Yeah. We'll use my color classic board because I'm going to be replacing it anyway. So if I break mine, I don't care. Where is it? That's the problem, because I don't remember where it is. Oh, it's in the chassis. Right here. My color classic board. And all the way. Yep. That goes this direction. This is off. This is in the off position. This goes in here. That goes to the on position. We turn it around so it's not facing me in case it does actually explode. I don't think it will, but who knows. Nothing there. My board turns on just fine. Wow. And that screen was doing some weird color changes. So at the very least, my board turned it on. So I'm going to de-energize that because that was doing some funky color change on the screen. I'm going to double check this real quick again. It didn't bong like I figured it should have. Again, not smelling anything burning. Very, very weird. Just looking around things really closely. Javier, did you adjust any of the pots on the back of your analog board? Did you turn them up? Anything like that? I am going to double check my digital board, my logic board, against my chassis, which I can't do because my chassis is in pieces. Can I put my chassis back together? Yes. I think I can do that real quick. I want to make sure I have a good test bed, because if I don't have a good test bed, then it doesn't matter. Here's my color classic analog board. Put this over here. Get my chassis. Chassis. Okay. Here's my color classic chassis, which I have to rebuild real quick. Okay. Mine has been recapped already, so mine is in perfect shape. Look how clean that thing is. It's perfection. So, this goes back in here. You can do it. You can do it. One repair guy uses a long pole with wire attached to discharge the CRT, so something like that might be wrong. Absolutely, yeah. If you do have to mess around with any of that, again, then you need to you need to use something like this. Yeah, I have a probe specifically designed for that. It's just a piece of copper wire, super thick copper wire, just glued into a piece of wood here. With this whole section has got tape on it to insulate it, and at the base there's a wire soldered on with a clip. I clip this onto the ground, slip that under the anode cap, pop, and it discharges the CRT. Test it with the 550. Now, I know that the board itself works with the 550. We tested that on the last stream. We know the board is fine. I'm not worried about... oh, no, we tested the 575 board, not his color board. Got it. Understood. I still want to make sure I have a good platform here. So we're going to test my my color board in my color chassis, and then we can test his color board in my color chassis to try to isolate issues. So that needs to go up there like that. This goes right here. Yep. This goes here. Now this thing has been apart for 1 billion years, so I'm not worried about discharging it. It's been apart for over a year now, so it is self-discharged very easily at this point. Okay, that's on. This is on. Making sure I plugged everything in the correct orientation. I did. This goes right here. And the anode cap. Okay. My color classic is back together. Plugged, 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 plugged. Yes. Okay. Okay. So I got my double isolation going on. Yep. Off. So this goes there, like that. Okay. Plug this in. Turn this switch on. Then we turn this on. Yep. Turns right on. Now this one didn't ding either, so it's possible that my volume on my board on the PRAM is just turned down all the way, so it didn't make the noise. I don't know. That one's working just fine. Cool. Mouse works. Yep. I believe I have a SCSI 2 HD in here. I might not. I don't know if I've got boot media in this machine. This machine has no boot media. That's fine. Okay. So my color classic works fine. So we're going to take my color classic board out and test his color classic board in this. Now we know the chassis works because it turns my board on, but the video is all wrong. So yeah, there's a volume control in the front. Yeah, I know. So we're going to try his color classic board with this awesome Microback Technologies Thundercache on it on my chassis to see what happens. This is just for thoroughness because he wants his color classic board back working, and I need to make sure it's working. So there could have been two things wrong with your machine, Javier. It could have been both the actual logic board and the chassis. So who knows? Okay. This is your Color Classic board in my chassis. I'll wait for capacitors to charge here. Nothing. Absolutely squat. So your Color Classic board also has a problem there, Javier. So if you want me to, just let me know. You let me know here in the chat or on the side channel. I can take a look at that too. Because I'm sure you want that back. Even though we're doing the Mystic upgrade for you. Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, it dead. It do nothing. Okay. So now we can continue with this, with Javier's chassis, because I have a feeling that it's fine, actually. It just didn't like him. The pots and everything were turned around and moved around and all of that. So actually, we can check them side by side here. We can check all of the adjustment pots on his chassis against mine, since mine's fine, and see what happens. Just to see how far off they are. So this is where it gets a little weird, because they're kind of hard to see. Yeah, a little hard to see. Yeah, there's almost no way to tell because they're not notched or marked in any way. So I can't really tell. This one's mine, right? Yep. Stand by, we'll put this away. So now we can continue here. I need my adjustment tools. I've got to find the one that fits this board. I don't remember which one it is. Stand by. Stand by. I don't need that. What am I doing? Looks like it's hex shaped. It's going to be one of these. I think it's this one. Nope. It's too big. Let's go down one. That one works. Green one it is. Okay. So we have our high voltage pot adjustment tool. Take out the Thunder Cache and try again. So that's the question. Do you want me to play around with the old Color Classic board, or do we want to try to get his chassis working first? Poll in the comments. Go. I'll give you a second to argue amongst yourselves. Take off the cache and try it. My money is issue with the analog board. Get the chassis working first. Resurrect that thing. Okay, well, let's get the chassis working first. So, hopefully, this doesn't kill my Color Classic board. If it does, it's not the end of the world. I'm going to be replacing it with a Mystic anyway. Okay, so put Javier's board in your Classic without the cache. Call the Shaman. I think it's a mix. I think we're gonna see what we can do with this guy first. Okay. First things first. I would love to know which ways these need to be adjusted. Secondly, I want to lift the back of the... So this is hard to see. I'll set the back of this up on a box or something so I can see it. Like that. Is that too front heavy? No, it's okay. So I'll sit there like that. Put Javier's board in your classic without the cache. Cut a bigger slot in the front and install a slot load optical drive. No! That is a refuse. Yes. Okay, cool. So, which side of this do I need? I need this side? Yeah. Cool. So then we got to turn it this way so that I can, like, see it. What a pain in the patoot. I don't know which way is up and down. Actually, before I do this, stand by. I am going to look up the meaning of these pots so I know which ones to go for first. Let's see. Color classic analog board pots. Yada, 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 yada. Screen focus question. You need a mirror. Yeah. Adjustment pots. Images. Is there a good image that shows them and shows what they mean? If anybody in the chat knows where I can find the adjustment pots. You don't have a mirror. You can put it on the back and yep. I know that. What's that clicky keyboard? Curdy Unlisted. What's that clicky keyboard? Yes, I have an original IBM Model M keyboard as my daily driver. It is a PS2 keyboard, and this nearly brand new 18-month-old 32-core Ryzen computer that I use as my video rig has a PS2 port. So it just plugs right in and it works. You can place a camera pointing at the CRT and view your stream. Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, it's like, yeah. Like, I need to know what the meaning of these pots are. That's not helpful. Sweet. Where'd you find that, Hav? Can you drop a link in the chat so I can have it up on my screen? If you're going to put a Retina 9.7-inch screen on the Color Classic, you might as well just like replace the guts with a you know, whatever. With like a Mac Mini or something. Stand by. I'm just doing some little work in the background here. This is the boring part of the stream where Joe does a whole bunch of research to figure out what the heck he's supposed to be doing. Mrs. Potts, yes. Thank you, Bruce. Color Classic Manual. There it is. I knew it was out there. I just had to, like, I've seen it before. I've used it before. I knew what it looked like, but I didn't know what to call the stupid thing. Looking through the manual. Looking through the manual, in case anybody wants to know what that is for their use. That's the link. Thank you, Bruce. Adjustments. Adjustment controls. So we're going to adjust the cutoffs to full and then back 3/4 before we even do this. So those are going to be these three right here. Okay. It's green gain. It wasn't that one. It was this one, and this one. Those were pretty much all the way up. And then just trying to get it adjusted a bit. All right. Those are adjusted. RB, GB, BB. Yep. Subcontrast. The GG and the BG also need to be turned down. Yep. This is subcontrast. Full clockwise position. Yep. We'll have that on center. I'm trying to get it based kind of like in the middle because I don't have the tools, the software to do this correctly. So I'm just trying to get it generally correct. G2. G2 is this one here, which requires a completely different tool. I think I need to use this tool for G2. Yeah, I don't know if that's been adjusted or not. Okay. Cool. So we will try this. Turn that on first. Turn that on first. No smoke. I'm going to turn the machine on. Hopefully it doesn't like catch fire. Yeah, it's just way too high. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's running. I don't have a cursor or anything. Yeah, that's concerning. I'm getting no cursor. I mean, it's not smoking. It doesn't smell hot, anything like that, but I don't get a cursor, which bothers me as well. Let's see. Is there a specific diagnostic for white for retrace lines? Standby. Geometric distortion, yoke. I'm not going to mess with the yoke. Can't even really tell if anything has been messed with the yoke. Light meter, blah, 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 blah. It doesn't tell me anything about how to diagnose the master cutoff for the horizontal. I'm just reading the diagnostics. So Display service utility, blah, 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 blah. Convergence. I'm not worried about convergence right now. I can play around with that in a little bit. Handy test video patterns for making CRT adjustments. Yes, I got to get the machine up and running first, though. Boot from a floppy EMU so you can see something other than a gray screen. Got it. Everybody knows how to do this because they've done it before. Okay. Well, let's see. I'm going to unplug this. I'm going to move this to the side. I need to find my floppy EMU. I actually know where mine is. It's right there. Steve! I need to test it and make sure I got a good booting image and all of that first. So I'm going to test that with my chassis. Because I don't remember what I have this floppy EMU set up for. I don't know if it's set up for a Mac or for what. This floppy EMU won't boot off this. It's a floppy EMU. You can't boot a floppy EMU off a Color Classic. I mean, I can if I plug it in internally. Let's do a SCSI 2 SD. I have one specifically set up for this purpose. There we go. That's in there. This goes here. That's off, off. Yep. On. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Turn on. Oh, you can't turn it on if the keyboard's not plugged in, Joseph. You moron. There we go. Okay, let's make sure I've got the right image on this SCSI 2 SD. If I have to, I can grab a blue SCSI or something. My Color Classic does need a little bit of video adjustment as well, it looks like. Maybe I can spend 90 minutes making a floppy disk. No. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. There it goes. Well, that's got a bootable OS on it. That's good. I don't know what it is, but it boots. Did he 3D print the disk? Starting up, and it's stuck. It's taking forever. There it goes. I can see it blinking right through here, so it's doing it. You can make, doesn't take that long. You can make System 6 with a GS and ADT Pro. Yeah, they required me to have my GS set up and an ADT Pro set up and all of that. So yeah, this is working. Yeah, it's 755 that's on this, looks like. I have another partition with 608, so I guess if I hold down one of the keys on the keyboard, it would boot that different partition. So we can go ahead and shut this down. Yeah, Justin, this is my Color Classic. I'm just testing boot processes and procedures to make sure that as I'm diagnosing Javier's board, we're diagnosing his board correctly. So that comes out, and my chassis goes back over here. Back where it belongs. Okay. So, I'm going to get this set back up. this plugged in. Lots of great suggestions from the comments. Thank you guys for helping me. I'm more the electronics guy, less the operating systems guy. Have you tried the IPA near the ADP port chips? That's what made my CC board soft boot work. Yeah, and it could be. I'm not worried too much about Javier's CC board. I'm more worried about the chassis working first, getting the video dialed in and all of that. That's the correct one. Sorry, Eric. I'm using one of your competitor devices because I don't have a Blue SCSI out and available. All my Blue SCSIs are actually installed in machines where they should be. What am I doing? I'm forgetting things. Oh, well, it's not going to turn on if I don't, like, you know, plug the frickin' power cord into it. Kind of important, isn't it? I think so. All right, that's on. So we're going to bring this over here like this. You can actually watch that, see if it tries to boot. I might actually take this out of the container so I can see it. Man, look at that. It's just scribbling all over the place and just making noise and just... One of these pots is just bad beyond all bad. So the SCSI 2 SD has a solid yellow light on it. Amber, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. Little percussive maintenance. You got a bad pot or something. Yeah, deoxit, that's exactly what I'm thinking. I'm thinking we're going to want to clean the pots. It's not booting. Can you guys see the light there? It's just solid. Not doing anything. Question is which pot is the one that's giving me the problems? I don't know. Seems all good. Making sure there's no missing connectors or something I overlooked, or everything's installed all the way. This thing right here is a little off. Doesn't look like it's all the way. It is. That's fine. Poking tool, yes. I'm doing the whole check your work thing. I'm just being super cautious and careful here. Sure I didn't snap anything off, break anything. Okay. No correct power going to digital board, yeah. Check the joints on the neck board. No, I haven't done that yet. Just just had a conversation about the Quadra 700 setup in the middle of the living room and why it's there. I've been there before. Can I set up a Mac in the living room just to have it? No. Okay. No correct power going to the digital board. I think the digital board is probably getting power okay. But it's hard for me to tell. Is it now working less than it did before the recapping? No, it's working more. Before, Bruce, when you press the power button, it wouldn't turn on. It wouldn't do anything. It did nothing. Now it turns on. So we got that far. And we know that my analog board is good, or not my analog board. We know my digital board is good. So how about we test, we get Javier's Color Classic board with that cache card working on a working chassis first. Let's try that. This analog board stuff, it usually requires me to like really tuck my head into it and just kind of like and futz around for a long time. And I honestly don't feel like doing that on a live stream at this point. Because that can be hours and hours and hours of me just futzing around until I get it working. So we're going to go ahead and just switcheroo. I'm going to switch out my board, and we're going to get my chassis again. And we're going to mess around with Javier's Color Classic board because, again, he wants that back and working. So we need to make sure we can get that working. So we might as well. Why not? Why not? So get his board. Color Classic with the Micromac technology on it. Accelerator. Yeah, take off the cache and all that. Yeah, I'm doing that first. We're just going to directly remove this. Very carefully. No bent pins, that's good. This can just go to the side for a moment. Before we do that, we are going to very thoroughly check this board. I'm going to go in with the scope and check the board just to make sure. Scope cam, how we doing? Good. So we need to check here to make sure that our ADP ports will actually have good traces to the Egret chip. If that's not working, it won't turn on. Ooh, that cap looks nasty. Javier, did you recap this board, sir? Sound chip or Egret chip, they're the most common culprits. In this particular case, Bruce, the machine is turning on. We were testing his chassis with my known working Color Classic board. So it wasn't the color, it wasn't the main board there. In this case, why this one doesn't turn on, yes, sound or Egret. I don't know which one you were talking about, so we're just doing both. So we're just checking all these pins, making sure none of them are loose. So this is the Egret chip. It handles PRAM, the real-time clock, and the power saving features or power control features. Looks like it's on there pretty well. This cap looks pretty gnarly. Might just reflow that while I'm there. Maybe I'll just reflow it. Stand by. Ugh, yuck. Yucky. We're going to get that chip. We're going to get that off there. It's bothering me. It's bothering me. I don't like it when things bother me. I presume you did this. You did this all back when you were using that old flux. Before I told you to change the flux you're using. And yeah, like let's not you know, make fun of Javier or anything, but that's pretty crusty. Yeah, Javier sent me some things over the years to work on, and the flux he was using kind of worked. In at least 2 cases, it actually turned a socket into a capacitor and was doing all types of weird things. Like after it would run for a while, it would after it ran for a while, it would start conducting. It was weird. See if we can get this off. Yes, I'm taking this off without using heat. If you don't like it, sue me. Without using a hot air gun. I've used this technique multiple times. As long as I'm very careful with it, it works perfectly fine. See? See? Told ya. You didn't believe me. Get that better in focus for you guys. There you go. Ooh, Justin is giving hints in the chat. Uh-huh. Yeah, Harvard. Yeah, just like Curdy said, we learn as we go. We watch other people who have learned from their mistakes, and we learn from their mistakes and our own mistakes. Oh, look at that. What is that? That's a crusty trace. And zoom way down in on that. Let's see if that trace is good. Where is my super sharp knife-a-doodle? Knife-a-doodle! Trace looks okay. It's crusty under there. Let's clean that area up before we proceed. And I'm going to use my Go Flux for this. As I call it. It is a 50-50 mix of isopropyl alcohol and Windex. Got a little solder ball hanging out right here, a little solder sploosh. Let's see if I can get that out of there. There we are. That's just, it's crunchy. Man, look at all that. Really dug in there. Really dug in there. Yep, look very carefully. I'm going to focus in on that, like super close. Watch this pad as I touch it. Watch it. Well, I got to find it first. See it? That pad is loose. Got to be careful with that. Okay. Just checking this trace. This trace is, I mean, it looks okay. It's just the solder, solder mask is kind of on it. So I'm just kind of cleaning off that solder mask and make sure it's solid. That's pretty solid there. That's fine. No problem there. That looks good. Check this joint here. Ooh, my ear is itching. Stand by. Okay. Yep, that joint's good. Yep, we're good there. Okay. Yep. Check this one. You see, here's the trick. You see this little dark spot right there? Right between the main trace and this? That could mean there could be corrosion going on underneath there. Sorry, I'm scratching the inside of my ear. My ear itches. I apologize. Thank you. So we're just checking all these little joints to make sure they're okay. That one's a little corroded, but it looks okay. Again, these are all the same. You see how it's dark underneath the underneath there. You gotta scrape it away and check it, because if it's not making connection, it doesn't work. And on these Color Classics and a lot of these LC Super LC variants, as I would call them, it uses this Egret chip right here. You guys can't even see me point. It uses this black chip I'm right next to control the power on sequence. And if it's not connected correctly, it's not going to turn on. So you got to check all these things. All look good to me to start with. Yeah, those don't look too bad. Okay. Clean a little bit of the detritus out of my way here. So I can get a good shiny look at that metal. That one seems okay. One seems okay. Forgot to check this one, although it's probably okay. That one might be just marginal. I want to check that with the beepy-to-beep machine. Continuity tester. Same for that one. Okay. Beep machine, come here, you. We're going to check our beeps. Okay. Beep, beep. Do pen test. First off, make sure this moisture isn't conductive. It is not. That one's good. 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 Okay. Thought for a second that one wasn't. Good. Good. All good. No problems there. Justin, use the universal version of the flux Bruce uses some good flux and works for both leaded and lead-free solder. Yes, I use the same stuff Bruce uses. I do. Stand by. There we go. Cool. Just check and make sure the stream was still actually running, because my stream software was looking a little weird. Yeah, look at that crust. We're gonna have to clean that up eventually. Actually, look at that up underneath there. Do you see all that? You see that goopy goop? And them's bad times. Them's bad times. This chip's gonna have to come off eventually. Just for my insanity. I don't like all that crap up underneath there. Look at that. Yeah, that has to all get cleaned out of there, or it's just going to continue to cause problems. Yep. Most definitely. We'll come back to that. So while we're here, for poopies and giggles, we might as well put this capacitor back on. Solder. I put it away like a moron. Come here, you. You can do it. You can do it. We're going to clean up the pads by adding a bunch of solder. Very carefully again, because remember the pad is loose. And it fixes really well. So the pad is pretty clean. We're going to do the same thing here. Again, it fixes pretty well, so the pad's clean. So then we take our wick and we flatten the pad. I use Goot wick because it's Goot. It does a good job. Very carefully. Just soak up all that solder so it's nice and flat so we have something good to affix to. Where is the flux? Flux! Here is the Flux Amtech NC-559-V2-TF. That's what I use. And great hair, thank you. I am a man of great patience. I like my hobby. A little bit less patience and a little more just enjoying doing the work. The capacitor itself looks pretty good. Which side is positive? Positive is on the right. It's not in focus. You can't see it. There you go. That's better. How long did vendors sell XT class computers at retail? Like most previous generations of computers, probably for way too long. Okay. That is on there. Sorta. Kinda doesn't want to stay in position. But we will work it. We will work with what we got. I forgot to turn my fans off. I got smoke in my face. Fan. On. 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 Power switch. I wired my fan up to a separate power supply with its own power switch, so now I don't have to use my bench supply for it. Okay. It's about centered. That side's on. Now I do this side. This side's a little trickier. A little tricky. There it is. It's a little tricky because it's hard to get in here without hitting the plastics. Okay. Now we're going to check and make sure we're okay. I honestly probably should have put some solder mask underneath that because there was an exposed trace. I'm just going to check it with the beep machine, make sure that we didn't short anything out. We didn't. Oh, we're good. That's good. Adam, you have like the best problem. While I was looking for chip sockets, I found my missing Mac 128 hiding behind a Mac Plus. If you can get to the point, folks, where you have so many computers in your collection that you can lose a Mac 128, you've reached my personal nirvana. I don't have the space back here. I can't lose anything in the shop unless it's small. Like everything is just blatantly obvious. So I'm just going to clean up this area real quick. Clean up that area with all the little carbon nasties from the soldering job. Man, solder still doesn't look that great. Lead bearing solder. Yes. Reports of the 5150 or 5160 being purchased until late 89. Yeah, well, you have to think about computers back in those days. I mean, how powerful they were, what they did. The performance curve of computers really didn't start truly accelerating at a crazy rate until about 95 or 96. And then the performance of machines just really started hitting the roof. I'm going to look at this trace right here because it's bothering me. See that big black spot? That means corrosion. We need to check that out. Yep, it's all right. There's still copper there. Copper all the way through. Okay. You just got to check it. You got to check it. Yep, looks all right. Just checking this trace. Looks okay. Can't see what I'm doing. Is that better? Just checking traces. Yep, that one's okay. Yep. All right. Cool. Let's get the micro Mac board over there. Cache board. Let's put away the super sharp scalpel so I don't drop it on my foot. That would be bad mojo. Okay. This is my chassis, right? Yes, this is my chassis. So we're going to switch cameras again. I'm going to go here. I'm going to clean up my workspace a little bit again. Because I'm such a disorganized person, I try to proactively remember to stay organized, if that makes sense. As I go, I just kind of put things away and prevent the clutter from building up too much. So, that was in the correct direction? Yep. So is it the same as mine? Yep. Okay, just make sure. Okay, so we're going to test this with the cache board removed. See if it turns on. Where the heck's the keyboard? There it is. Hi, keyboard. How are you? Yes, I'm talking to my keyboard. Yes, I'm weird. Okay. Again, great, awesome. Plugged in. We want our SCSI2 SD plugged in. We're going to turn it around so we can both see it. We're going to turn the power on. That power's on. This power on? Yep. Nothing. Big fat nothing. Bye, Rudy. Thank you for stopping by, sir. We will be in contact later about plans. Don't like it. I'm going to try the other ADP port, just in case. It's an ADP port problem. Probably isn't. It's probably the Egret chip. Nothing. Nothing! You did. You did, Jim. He's dead, Jim. Okay. So this board just don't turn on. It no on turning. We have made a surprisingly huge lack of progress tonight, but that's okay. That's how the cookie crumbles. That's how it crumble bumbles. Okay. I'm just looking around at this point. Yep, there's a trace repair or a pad repair there. We'll take another closer look at some things. Yeah. Yee. Conversion technology. Retro Techie, is it fixed yet? No. Javier sent me some real stumpers this time. Make sure that this isn't shorted. It isn't. This one. Nope. Okay. Nope. Nope. Okay. Check these. Nope. It has 500 ohms across it. That could be normal. We'll check my board and see if that has 500 ohms across it normally. No. So that capacitor right there is suspect as being shorted. this one right here, because it's got 500 ohms across it. Or not. Or not. It just phantom went away. Okay, fine, whatever. Moving on. Nope, that's good. Okay. Nothing obvious. So it's sound chip or egret chip. Okay. How about we take a look at this egret chip real close. Focus. Focus. There we go. Uh-huh. Turn on the heat gun. 343. I don't know if that's hot enough. I'm going to crank it up to 450. Close enough. Cool. So, is there any plastic we need to protect? Oh yeah, only like a whole freaking bunch of it. We're going to take the egret chip off. We're going to start to anyway. Captain tape. Captain, not captain. We're going to get some little heat shields in place. Okay. Captain tape. Captain tape is high temperature tape. Helps it resists being attacked by heat, if that makes sense. So you can use it to tape your heat shields and stuff in place, which is what I'm doing right now. We've got these big aluminum pieces to help protect everything I'm working on. I'm just kind of getting those in place and then taping them so they don't fall over and get in my way. Dooby-dooby-doo. Egret, isn't that a bird? Yes. It's regret without the R. Yes, it is. The egret chip is a pain in the ass. Yes, I said that out loud. There we go. Well, this one doesn't want to really stay where I stuck it. Okay. Wonder if I can move that over a little bit. Stand by, I'm just finagling these bits and pieces just to protect this area. You can see how little space I have in there to work. But it's necessary. It is necessary. Okay. Switch camera. Zoomed all the way out because I don't need to be super zoomed in order to get this chip off here. I need my Twizzle stick. Where's tweezers? Tweezers, tweezers, tweezers. I put them away like a good doobie. And here comes the heat. Wait for that to get up to temperature. Okay. So I have to arrange this in a weird way in order to get access to it. Stand by. There we go. Chips removed. Cool. Look at the gunge. Oh, it's disgusting. It's nasty. Can you see it? Can you see the awfulness? Bleh. Barf. Let's clean it up. Let's get it cleaned up. I need some place to put these hot pieces of metal. I forget that every single time. Okay. Capacitor creations, yes. Put this Egret chip off to the side. So we'll need to come back to that in a moment. First things first. We need to clean this area up. Yep. Toothbrush. That's going to require a scrub. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And we use my Go Flux, as I call it. Which again is half isopropyl alcohol and half Windex. Okay. Surprisingly, it doesn't look that bad under there after it's cleaned. All right, now we go in and we examine. We look at stuff super close. Can you guys see? You can. 99% or 70%? 99%. Can you all hear me? Javier says he doesn't have any audio. Double check. Check, check. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me? I use 99%. And it just went all over the place. Stand by. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Check, check. 1, 2. Okay, cool. You can hear me. I can't hear Javier. Oh, that's funny. So what was I doing? Stand by. I was doing a thing. The higher the percentage of the alcohol, the quicker it'll flash off. Yes, because it's more alcohol and less water. It also is stronger, so it does the job better. That's what I use right there. MG Chemicals 824 isopropyl. I have like 1.5 gallons of it. I have bottles and bottles of it down there. So we're going to check traces again. Because while I was doing that, I saw one that looked suspect. I have cables in my way. Get out of my way, cables. Where was it? I lost it. I lost it. I lost it. Over here. Here we go. That one right there looks suspect. Right there. See it? So we're going to check that right here. Yep, it surprisingly looks okay. We're going to beepity beep it. Okay. We have continuity from here to here. Oh, yeah. What about all the way over there? Yep. Entire chain is good. It's nasty looking, but it's good. That's deliciousness. Look at this. Look at it. Look how tasty it is. Don't you want some, guys? Do you want this? You know you want it. Delicious. Mm-mm. Yummy, yummy. Just checking things. Check all the traces. This egret is not working correctly if it doesn't have trace connections. The machine will not turn on, and that is the symptom we have. So we got to check everything. Well, they'll seem okay. Do some beep checks. Beep checks. I want to check this one. That one's good. Check this one. Yep. This one. This one. Yep. This one. Yep. I already tested this one. I'm going to test it again. Yep. Mm-hmm. It'll seem okay. Seeming and being are different things, of course. So let's clean up the pads. I'm going to zoom out for that because I don't have to be super close to do that. And well, you guys can also see it better. Retin the traces before the egret goes back on. Yes and no. So basically what we do is we go through and we remove all of this nasty tin off the traces. And then make sure the traces are completely flat, or the pads are flat before putting the egret back on. We also have to check the pins on the egret itself to make sure that they're all still good, and that they're nice and clean and flat as well. And I will be showing you how we do that right now, because why not? So we'll turn this board so you can see it well, and we'll start right up here at the top. Get you some super good focus here. That's worse. There we go. So we just take our iron, a little bit of extra solder, and we just add a little bit. And we make sure it gets a good clean bead all the way across, and we just repeat on all the pads until they're all clear, until they all look good. Now, it does help in this case to put a little bit of flux on there. So we're going to do that. What is it? That's about a half a Rossmann of flux. course, what we're doing here is we are getting rid of all of the oxidized solder because it doesn't really conduct electricity well. And it doesn't stick well, and it's crumbly, and it's nasty, and we don't want that there. Only 3 hours so far. Yeah, I haven't really gotten to Steve's 8-hour stream length yet, but I will be ending here fairly soon. Probably around 10. Or once we get this Egret chip back on, we test it again. Yep, all those pads look good. Nice and shiny. So now we use our what is this stuff called? Wick, or solder wick, and we make those completely flat. You can usually use a left to right drag on that, or right to left drag across it. As long as we don't put a lot of friction on it, that usually does a pretty good job. Justin, I need to catch more of your streams. I've seen like maybe 1 or 2. I don't know why you just don't show up on my list of streams for some reason. I'm not sure why. Especially being one of my top supporting patrons. I think you deserve a little bit of viewership from me in return. Okay, so those are nice and flat, right? Look good? Looks good. Good. I'm going to zoom in and look for solder balls or any weird things that might be connecting things together that shouldn't connect together. Yeah, it's all fun. That sheen, that reflection you see on the board is the leftover flux. Flux is not a problem for us. It just makes our life easier later. Yeah, all looks good. Looks good. Okay. So now we need to check le Egret. Egret. Here it is. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. Focus a little bit. Now we're going to just flex test these pins just to make sure they don't, make sure they're actually connected. Putting just the slightest bit of pressure on them to see if they move. Not much, just a tiny bit. It tells us if they're disconnected at the base of the chip or not. That one, yeah, that one's fine. That's okay. All right. Now we clean it. Come here, you. $8.24. Yep. MG Chemicals $8.24. That's what you want. So let's grab this chip and clean it. I just have to find a good way to grab it. The cool thing about this Egret chip is it's a 68C05 processor or microcontroller, which are still made. Microcontroller still manufactured. It's just custom. In theory, you can dump the control off this microcontroller, this Egret chip, or dump the software off of it. Somebody's done that, I believe. And then you can, with a little adapter board, use an off-the-shelf version of the 68C05, and in theory, replace the Egret chip with a new solution. So We're going to dry this off real quick. Because we're going to be adding flux to it. And I don't want to thin the flux out with alcohol. Now we're going to clean up the pins. Okay. Pins. I'm going to zoom out for this. It works better for me. And to be honest, I'm the one fixing it, so deal with it. Put a little bit of flux across the pins. Little flux across the pins. I can clean up the pins. Okay. Here we're basically just remelting the solder with some flux to fix its eutectic mixture. To make sure any of the oxides are burned off, cleaned off, and we've got nice shiny little feet. Shiny little feet. This is why you need flux directly on the pins, because if you don't, they don't clean up well. I'll flip it over and get these last couple pins on the other side. Working in silence. And that pin just doesn't want to be clean. Be clean, I tell you, be clean. Okay. Now we clean the chip. Guys can't even see what I'm doing. See, the center of the scope isn't the center of the camera, so it's hard to see what I'm doing sometimes. Being silent for a long time, then start swearing. Oh wait, this isn't Mike's Mac Shack. Uh-huh. Flip over you. Clean the top side just so we don't have any goo on it. That pen looks a little yucky. That's all right. It's all right. Cool. Awesome. So now I'm going to clean this bench space because it's got fluxy, nasty residue. And we use my proprietary mix of Windex and alcohol for that job. And it just works. The stickiness is gone. The residue is gone. It just goes away. One via top left under the chip that looked like it's almost not there corroded. Top left under the chip. Okay, well, let's take a look. First off, because I just had this in a paper towel, I'm going to double check I didn't bend any pins. I did not. Okay, the egret is good. So you said under that chip, it looked like a bad via. Okay, well, let's see. Huh? Looked good to me. I don't really see any problems there. But since you said it doesn't look well, we're going to go ahead and clean this flux out of the way so we can get a better look and a better contact with the probe multimeter. Okay. Let's check it out. Let's see here. This one. That's fine. That's fine. Fine. Uh-huh. That one's obviously fine. Ow, I just poked myself with my tweezers. That hurt. Yeah, that one's fine. Yeah. This chip here looks pretty suspect too. Pretty sus. Yeah, it's good all the way through. It's good. 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 This one is really, it's super close to not being good though. We're going to super zoom on that. Hyper zoom, 100% zoom. Yeah, if that's connected now, it's going to be very soon not connected. Sorry, I'm just adjusting my eyepieces a little bit. That is almost to the edge of not being connected, isn't it? Or is that just some goop that was in there? I think that was just some goop. Yep, it was just goop. Yep, that's all right. It's all right. Is this eventually going to be an aquarium? No. Yep, bottom left. That's the one we just checked. It was okay. We just tested it. It's fine. And we'll beep it out again. It's between here and this little, right there. This little bit. Yep, that's good. Okay. Clean it all up. Good, good. Put the Egret chip back on it. Let's get to it. Okay. Chip. I forgot I need to put some flux down first. Flux ducks. Okay. Flux is on. Let's put this really sharp knife away so I, again, don't drop it on my foot. Okay. Egret chip. Hello, Egret. Goes right on there like that. Okay. I am going to super zoom a little bit just to make sure I have my alignment really like super good here. I think that's about as good as that's going to get. Close enough. All right. Solder time. Solder. Solder. Yes, the commercial Windex is what I use. John Mounts asks. I get it at my local hardware store. Okay. Now making sure this is oriented correctly. You see the dot on the board. Well, you can't see anything. See that dot on the board? That corresponds to that dot on the chip. That's pin 1. Make sure we have it oriented correctly. If you don't, bad things occur. Best case scenario, nothing happens. Worst case scenario, things catch fire. Of course the chip shifted. Gosh darn it! Ah! Stupid thing. Stay where I put you, please. Is that where you need to be? It needs to be adjusted slightly different. Right about there. Stupid son of a gun. What is your problem? Go where I want you to go. Zooming out. Pins attached. Okay, we got one corner. When we do the far corner, that will get the pin in, or the chip in place. Now the chip can't move. Now I can just kind of solder right across those pins. This side will be a little bit difficult because this little loop is in my way. This LP3. But we'll see what we can do. A little drag soldering action for you this evening. Not bad. But this is why we check it. You see that? You got to check for these things. There you are. Always check your work. Always check your work. All right, now we do the other side. Not bad at all. That side is super duper. Super duper. Enhance, enhance. Now that is some pretty good soldering. And I'm not saying that to pat myself on the back. I'm saying that because that's some of the best soldering I've ever done. Okay. Let me check for little solder balls and things. Okay. Don't really see much in there. Where is it? Where is it? Hello, chip. That side's super clean. Okay. And we're going to clean that up. De-enhance. De-enhance. Dishance. Is that a word? 64-pin socket. Yeah! Not even Joe is allowed to promote himself here. Hey, Joe, mind if I shamelessly self-promote a YouTube page? Not that my folks can try to find it, but they risk finding my brand account. Yeah. Yeah, if you have a link, you want to drop it in the chat, I can approve that link. Beautifully done. Sockets for Petter's SE board. He wanted to socket the 68,000 for him. It's easier when you actually have to. Yeah, cool. Justin, I'm looking for your YouTube page so I can give it out to people. Stand by. I can't find you. That's probably why I can't. I don't know you're streaming. I wonder. I'm actually just watching my own video. Yes, I'm chewing on a thing here. If I go to the studio, go live. Am I already streaming? There we are. I'm going to click that. Stand by. Justin. Can flux damage any components? If it's really crappy flux, yeah. If you use flux that's designed for like plumbing, it absolutely can. It's super acidic. Stand by, Justin. Justin Morgan, you are now a moderator of my channel. So if you wanted to drop a link to your channel, you may do so whenever you like. Yeah, if you use no clean, the good no clean flux, just like Curdy said, yes, exactly. It's not, you're not going to have a problem. Proper electronic flux, again, like this stuff here, the Amtech NC555V2TF. That stuff. Why is it focus? Focus on that. That's the good stuff. Bruce, when do you get to be a moderator? When I have a reason to let you be a moderator, buddy. Do you want to drop something? Do you want to drop a link in the chat? I'll let you be a moderator. That's fine. I don't pay enough attention to the chat anyway, so if somebody's spamming or something, I'm not even moderating it, so, you know, whatever. Yeah, those are all fine. So we're going to dry this off real quick. We're going to test it out. It's not going to work. That's my prediction. That is Joe's prediction for the evening. So let's get air compressor. Come here, you. Loud noises. Apologies in advance. All dried out. And now nobody can hear me. Here's a link to my favorite hot sauce. Still cleaning the board. Just I don't like stuff. Especially, this flux is freaking awesome, but it's super sticky. And so, like, when it's left on the board, you get your hands on it, and you're like, All right. Egret board chip has been put back in. Thank you, Justin, for dropping that link on there. Somebody drew. Come on, Andrew. Don't be a jerk. Okay. So we're going to try it out. We're going to see what happens. Will it blow up? Tune in on the next time on Batman. We'll put that there. I'm just rearranging stuff again to get it out of my way so I have space to do the thing. Stand by. Fluids are out of the way. So we need to put this in here. You guys can't see anything. I need to change the camera angle. Haha, that's better. That's in there. Does anybody happen to know whether the Color Classic board requires a battery in it to turn on. Does it? Because if that's what's been the problem the whole time, I'll laugh because it doesn't have a battery in it. I don't think that it does because the 575 doesn't. If it does, we can put one in there. So, is the bottom of the board dry? Yes. Okay, that's in. Keyboard. How quaint. Hello, computer. Which is, it's right now is about the perfect time for that reference because it's what, the 25th anniversary or the 40th anniversary or something of Star Trek 4? 30th, 40th, something like that. I don't remember exactly. That's plugged in. Well, that's probably why there was no sound. I didn't have the speaker plugged in. That's a thing. There we go. Okay, so that's good. That's good. That's good. Okay. Power. That one. That one. The chassis lit up. I heard it click on. So now we hit the power button. Star Trek 4, the one with the whales. Yeah, Star Trek 4 is great. No power. That's plugged into that port. We'll go in the other ADP port just for giggles. Nada. Yep. So that's a thing. Yeah, I think it's got to be 35 because I'm 41 and it came out after I was born. So 35 sounds about right. Sweet. Good news, Adam. Joe may go batty if this doesn't. Dude, I am already batty. I am batty beyond crazy. It does not. Thank you, Bruce. So, yeah, I'm kind of going to call the stream for tonight. We're getting up there, what, almost 4 hours. That's crazy. Me streaming for 4 hours? That is nutty. Because it's going to be close to Joe's bedtime, but that's fine. If you send me a list of links you might refer to on stream, I'd be glad to drop them in the chat when you mention them. I can do that. Yes. You already did recap a Mac. Tinker Different. If you could, Justin, if you could drop Tinker Different in there, if you know what that is. I can do that since I'm like here now. That is paste. Tinkerdifferent.com is a good place for folks to go. Lots of cool vintage tinkerers on there doing lots of cool stuff. Kai Robinson, for example, the guy who's made all these cool replacement or is working on all these cool replacement boards for these machines. So before I do go, while I still have Bruce's attention, if you're still in the chat, buddy, you said the sound chip could cause this problem as well. If I were to just remove the sound chip and the sound chip is the problem, in theory, then it would just like turn on and then I would know. Let me know. Anyway. So yeah, that's been all for tonight. I'm going to kind of break away for now. Thank you. Bruce, you are here. Yes. Thank you all for stopping by. I do appreciate it. We will be coming back to this again at some point. Because we got to get this stuff done for Javier. He needs to get his chassis working, which is a thing, which I'll figure out. I'll probably figure that out off stream because that's just going to take me like days to brain that problem. We also need to get his Color Classic board turning on because he wants to get that on. And once we get those turned on and figured out, then we can come back and we'll be able to actually do the proper Mystic upgrade on his Mac. And if that takes too long, then I'll just do the Mystic upgrade on mine so I can show you guys how to do it, and then I'll work on his out of band. We'll figure it out on the next stream. Sound chip's part of the reset circuit, so it can be stuck in permanent reset sometimes. If it's stuck in permanent reset, that prevents it from actually turning on. So if I hit the power button, it doesn't actually turn on. Okay. Well, again, thank you all for stopping by. Remember to hit the like button. It helps this, or hit the dislike button if you really didn't like my stream. I don't care. They both do the same thing. They help the YubTubs, YouTube, know that you like my stuff, or that that this kind of content was interesting to you in some way, and it helps more people find out about my content. If you're not subscribed, subscribe to my channel. I do lots of cool stuff all the time. If you want to support me, you can go to Patreon. There's a link in the description of maybe this video and maybe some of my other videos. It's just this right here. Stand by. I'm finding my Patreon link. It's this. That link. That is my Patreon. So if you do want to support me on an ongoing manner, you can pick any one of those tier levels anywhere. Anything from $1 to like $500 million per month is great. But seriously, those those patron funds do things like go towards these tools and all the cool stuff you've seen on the stream today to help me keep doing this kind of thing for all you guys out there, so that I can educate, inform, and help people in the community. Well, that's all I had for this evening. Thank you all for stopping by, and have a good evening.